I'm here at Old Meldrum House, which is just an hour away, which is super practical for me, just outside Inverurie.
That's correct. Not
Uh,
far from Aberdeen.
Not far from Aberdeen. And this is Neil's studio. And isn't it cool that not only can we look out onto the golf course, but we've got the strength kit in the same room. And that's really why we're here, is to have a chat about not just your experience as lifter now, but as a golf professional who's also a personal trainer, and how you kind of tie the two together, which I think is awesome. So let's get started. From your own experience as a lifter and a golfer, what is it that you have found carries across the most from strength training into your game?
Well, I think that from a golf point of view, you're always looking to. Most golfers are looking to hit the ball further.
Okay.
They want to develop more speed with the club.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one thing. The other is the amount of golfers that become injured with playing the game.
Sure.
It puts a lot of stress on the back.
Okay.
So from my point of view, I certainly have had the odd niggles over the year, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy being able to teach people the swing by demonstrating it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting older, so I want to be able to maintain that ability for as long as I can.
Okay.
I think it's good to be able to show people what you want them to do, just rather than telling them I want you to do this.
Yeah, mate, 100%.
So that's kind of what motivated me, and I think the strength training attracted me because it's I think it's the biggest bang for your buck in the gym. I think it's the most useful. The most use of your time that you can have. There's other stuff that you can do, but strength, I think, has helped me maintain my ability to swing the club.
Okay. Well, because that hits you from two angles, doesn't it? It hits you from, I want to be able to play golf and therefore move well to play, but also I need to be able to demonstrate. So as one gets older, more susceptible to injury perhaps, then your strength training has helped you stay in the condition you need to in order to move.
That's correct.
Well, let's dial back to the first one.
Yep.
Where people who golf want to increase how far they hit the ball and increase the speed of their swing. So
both are tied together.
Yeah, but what is it about strength training that affects those directly?
Well, I think the ability to swing the club fast and hit the ball hard is force production. And if your muscles are stronger, then I think you're more able to move them fast with more power. So the strength training exercises, from your grip strength, you're holding onto a club that's moving at 100 miles an hour. If you're not able to hold on to that club, you're not going to be able to, your brain's not going to allow you to swing it that fast. So holding onto a barbell and a deadlift strengthens your grip.
I had never thought about that analogy before in terms of your grip, because it's the same as the deadlift, which is, the brain will not lift what the hands cannot hold. So if your grip on the deadlift is failing, the bar's rolling away from you, your brain will not allow the body to stand up. And I'd never thought of it in the same terms of club velocity. That's pretty funky.
If it's flying out your hands,
yeah,
you're going to put the brakes on.
Yeah, for sure.
So from hand strength to you're using your whole body, a bit like the barbell exercises, which are using the whole body. They've all got, your whole body's got to move well and strong. So from the grip strength, you're using your arms for presses and holding onto the bar on a deadlift. My shoulders, I've got to be able to rotate my torso. That's using my lats, my shoulders, everything else. And I know I generate lots of, not me, but golfers generate speed from using the ground properly and being able to push into the ground with their legs. If you've got a strong squat, then I think you can push into the ground 100%. More doing anything else other than a squat.
You did mention something there which kind of tickled my thought process a little bit. Obviously, the ability to twist and turn. And obviously, to do that, we are going to use some lat, but obviously a lot of our oblique and torso control musculature. So as a golf pro and a barbell personal trainer, do you do any stuff like rotational stuff or anything like that, or do you just stick to the main barbell movements?
I think I don't, because I think I do the rotational stuff when I'm actually playing the game.
Yeah.
And I think if I loaded a rotation, there's a chance that it could mix up the fine tuning that a golf swing has to catch that ball down there. As if a lot of people do wood choppers, which is that's a straight movement.
Oh,
a golf swing is a circle.
So you'll find people doing things like wood chops to try and mimic the golf swing.
Yes.
When it's nothing.
So they're kind of
So, oddly enough, perhaps you would agree that if we were just to get our squat and deadlift, bench and press stronger, that would strengthen our torso musculature.
Yep.
That we can then utilize that strength in order to swing the club faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. You could maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but your muscle doesn't know if it's rotating or not. If it's strong, it's strong,
and it's contracting as hard as it can.
Yeah,
isn't that cool? So I think we're not here to debunk any myths or anything like that, or to suggest that things like wood chops or whatever are completely useless. But when you are short on time, we'll come on to your demographic of golfers perhaps in a minute. But if you're short on time, or you want to get the best bang for your buck, I think within our experience, we tell us that if you just get as strong as you possibly can, and practice the things that make you happy, and if golf makes you happy, I don't know why golf would make anyone happy, but if that makes you happy and you can practice that skill and utilize what you've done, then that's cool. And there is space within your training to apply. If those big four lifts are not fixing your training, because there is something else
fixing your golf,
then it may well be there's a skill issue that needs to be taught, or there is something else specific that needs to be. But I would agree that there's no need for bands and bowsy balls and wood chops specifically for golf. Yeah, that's cool.
What I feel anyway. I'm sure there are other exercises you could do, and you can see golfers with long lists of exercises.
I'm not quite sure where you were going with that. There's a lot of shaft stuff going on there, which is fine. That's cool. So let's bring it back. So I don't want to own this. This is you giving us the answers here. So we've talked about the direct carryover of strength into the ability to move the ball further and faster. So one assumes you need to use less strokes.
Well, that's right. A golf course is easier if you can hit it longer, but it's got to be done under control.
Yeah.
So I think strength allows more stability, and if you're swinging the club faster, if you're more stable, then you're going to be able to come back to the ball more consistently as well.
Well, perhaps a lead-in then would be if you tell us a little bit about your main kind of demographic of who you coach for golf, because there are perhaps other benefits that these people will have on the golf course beyond just hitting the ball further. So who do you train predominantly?
Guys over 40. I've got a few younger golfers, one that's not a golfer, but generally a bit like myself.
Yeah.
A little older.
How much old? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
So I've had some really encouraging feedback from those guys. Not necessarily always the strength thing. There's one guy that said he played every day in July. He just retired the year before, and he was manic to play golf, and so he played 31 days in July. And he said there was absolutely no way that he could have done that before. If you're mad enough to play that much, his body was able to handle that.
That's excellent. That was going to be my question, is whether he'd managed to do that before he'd started training with you or after he started training with you. So he had this ability to do a frequency, an incredible condensed frequency of game after game, day after day, week after week, that there's no way he could have done before. So he just had the best time ever
milking the
July.
good weather in the summer.
Mate, that's awesome.
From a golf point of view in Scotland, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I think that was going to be my other leading question. I think you've already answered it, which was, if we're talking with people who are predominantly over 40,
Yep.
who are still working professionally, are most of them retired? Where are we?
There's probably more retired, but there's
Okay.
still some that are working and really keen to fit in the training.
Sure. And in terms of what they do, without digging into individuals, are any of them, are they mostly sedentary, sitting down types? Is golf perhaps the only real physical hobby that they tend to have?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay,
Mac,
so you dude who managed to play the whole month, is that perhaps not in the same magnitude, but is that something you hear from these guys, is that they are able to either maintain the same level of playing, but feel more energetic and get more out of it?
Yeah, I mean, the big measure is when you've played a round of golf, which is 4, 5, 6 miles of a walk.
Yeah.
And a common comment that they make is they're coming down the 17th or the 18th hole with a spring in their step still.
Yes.
So
normally, pre-training,
yeah, they'd certainly
would that back end be, Jesus, I just want this to end. I can't wait till I'm finished.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
So they certainly noticed a contrast from before to after.
Okay. So we've talked about carryover being hitting the ball further faster. We've talked about injury prevention. So have you found that most of your guys are getting injured less? Are they reporting less injuries?
They certainly feel that way.
Okay.
I
I don't know if we've got any data. I had this many injuries last year.
I haven't got that, but that certainly would be something I should be asking them.
I don't know about
they certainly haven't had to stop playing.
Yeah.
So they have stayed fit.
So anecdotally then, and from your own perception, does it sound like they're being injured less?
Yeah, it does.
That's pretty cool.
And the odd, I've had to kind of encourage some of them that maybe felt on my back's a wee bit sore today, and I've said, like, let's just go and see what happens. And there's been once or twice at the end of a session, it's gone away, and they come back the next time. Yeah, that's gone.
Funny that, yeah.
Which certainly would go against what a lot of people might think. I'm going to rest this, and I don't want to hurt it anymore.
So, do you think that again, as a result of their training, that they have a slightly different mindset towards injuries or injury prevention, or the fact, they've woken up one morning and think, oh, maybe I should or shouldn't play? Do you think they now approach that with, no, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do as planned, and then we'll see what happens. Is that changed?
Yeah, I think they probably feel more that they are more resilient. So just get on with it.
I think
and particularly training as well. They'll come in and do it. But it's few and far between that there are injuries, to be honest. But that certainly happened a few times, which is great.
That's awesome.
There's one or two. I've kind of got a core of about 15, 20 guys that come along at various amounts of time. Some people can't do it as much, but the club head speed, which I can measure with this radar here, I've definitely got before and afters.
That was definitely where I was going to lead. It's the one thing we made this claim at the start. It's going to increase club head speed, but you have got your own evidence now of this. So talk us through a little bit about you've been tracking club head speed. And so you can, so we can see this is someone who has been not training. They've had a period of training, and there is a definitive improvement in club head speed. So talk us through that.
I mean, it's anything from like 4, 5, 6 miles an hour to there's one that was 10 miles an hour of a difference in not too long a period of time. Like 4 months, maybe 4 months.
So 3-4 months of training, once a week, twice a week?
Twice a week.
Twice a week, 3 to 4 months, and they saw somewhere between 4 to 10 miles per hour improvement. Yeah. And what does that translate to?
That's 10 to 25 yards
per stroke
and drive. This, how far you're getting it off the tee, which makes the golf course easier if it's shorter.
I'm going to put you on the spot here then. So are we able to get an average drop in overall shots per round Oh, so again, I'm not looking for an exact number, but if you could say, right, someone who's coming untrained, is trained for 3 to 4 months, once to twice a week, they've put, let's say, 5 miles per hour on their club head speed. Are we expecting then to see fewer shots per round?
If that's what they're going to gain in club head speed, in general, you would expect them to score lower. My experience with my lifters is that their handicaps, their scores are coming down.
Yeah.
And that might not be, it's just they're invigorated, and it might not all be the strength training because they're kind of into their golf and they're practicing more and feeling enthused. So I do think it's
so I'm not going to get a number out of you. You're going to drop your handicap by whatever in 3 months. But I think that's a really good point, because there's other elements at play here. One of which is endurance. If you're going to be out for 4, 5, 6 miles, I mean, so what does the average round of golf take in terms of time?
If it's a quick golf course, it could be 3.5 hours to. Sometimes if you're really slow, it could take 5.
5 hours, and what if you're having a bad day?
That's a pain in the neck.
Yeah. So you're going from these guys are potentially more highly motivated. They can see progress, so they're maybe happier as they go around the golf course, and their ability to keep hitting the ball hard after 9 holes, after 12 holes, after 15 holes. I mean, are you seeing a drop off? Or are they actually able to maintain club head speed for a full 18-hole round?
I haven't measured that, but you're being a non-golfer.
Yeah,
you're homing into this, hitting it hard.
Yeah,
but it's being fresh, playing the last few holes, just to make the right decisions.
Yes,
it might be a putt because you're feeling less fatigued, that you have read the putt, you know what it's going to do, but also because you're more stable. You're stronger over a very fine-tuned action like a putt, where it's really important
Don't overegg
that you strike the ball properly.
Yeah,
you'll be more solid, and you're more likely to.
I think that's
well as well.
Beautifully articulated answer that I was trying to get to myself that I just couldn't get out. And it's that idea of, as you get towards the end of your round, where these guys may before have been like, I'm knackered, I want this to end, I never liked golf anyway, to this is a beautiful game, I love it, I feel invigorated. Yeah, I've been hitting my balls hard on the drives, but I'm actually in a really good position now, mentally and physically, to enjoy the last bit, where it might be, down to the last hole, to the last stroke, in terms of who wins this game.
Yep.
So I think, again, anecdotally from your guys, do you think they're actually enjoying their golf more than before?
I do.
Okay.
Certainly the groups that I have, they're egging each other on as well.
Do they play together as well as train together?
Yes, they do. They do.
I think that's cool. Yeah.
So they've become friends. Some of them don't know each other before, so they've become friends and played a bit. So it's the kind of social side of things as well. They come in here and egg each other on here, but also on the golf course too.
That's very cool. I love the crossover, but there's an idea for you. Is you could create 2 teams to actually compete against each other.
You could.
You're going to train together, you're going to play together, but you'll never meet until you're on the golf course.
You win together or lose together.
Well, that's it. Well, one of the teams is, and that just a thought. You could actually, put them into pairs, triples, quads to play, couldn't you? To compete.
Yep.
That could be
definitely.
Oh, mate, that's something to throw into the mix. Yeah. Mate, that's very cool. So to summarise, again, we can cut some of this stuff out. We can summarise. The main crossover really is application of force, which is then honed by precision with their golf skills. But also that gives them resilience going around the golf course.
Yep.
One, less likelihood of injury, but actually their ability to absorb 4, 5, 6 miles, 3, 4, 5 hours, and still be in a really good, fresh position to play at the end. That's epic. Imagine saying to someone, right, someone who perhaps is not enjoying their game, is feeling like run down and crappy at the end of their 18-hole round, and they're not training. Is it worth them, someone in that position then, what would you suggest would be more advantageous and better bang for the buck? More golf coaching or strength coaching?
I think the two together would be good.
That's a beautiful thing,
wouldn't it? But it does depend. It depends.
Okay, what would it depend on? What are the factors we'd like to consider?
If they're really not enjoying their golf because the golf shots are horrendous, then I would really want to look at their technique and see if there's something in there. If they're feeling coming off the golf course they're absolutely done, then and that's maybe contributing to bad play, then I would have said the strength training would be the way to go, you know.
I think that would be a great consultation piece.
Yeah.
You know, if someone, when someone comes to you and you can, like they would to me, and when someone says, how much is it? Because they know I'm a personal trainer, obviously what I want to know is, well, how can I help you? What is it you're actually needing help with? And what a cool way, because you have got your foot in both camps, is you can really go down the route, well, are you really just a crap golfer? And therefore, hey, come on into my parlor, let's look at your skill. Or is it something else? Is it simply because your game starts off good, but then just tails because we don't have strength, endurance, resilience? And you say, hey, let's maybe tweak some of your shots in your game, but actually getting onto here is going to be bang for buck in terms of the next 3 to 4 months or over the winter when no one plays golf. There's a pretty good offering you can make there.
Yep, absolutely. And I think what's really interested me is that the people that have come along, they're knowledgeable on how important strength is as they get older. It wasn't like I had to say, this is going to make your bones more dense, this is going to give you more power. It's going to, their sons and daughters have been saying, you need to be doing something. You're getting older.
Isn't that great? They're not being told to not. You should just relax. You shouldn't be doing these things. Actually, they're being encouraged to go and do stuff.
That's right.
Which I think is epic.